What's up, y'all? It's Brandon from Flesh and Blood Brothers. Got a nice, freshly bald head. I wanted to bring you this old school, back to basics Rhinar deck. We're just waiting a few more weeks for Outsiders to get released. So in the meantime, I was like revisiting my decks in FabDB and came across Rhinar, and that was like the first deck I ever brought to a CC event. So this is kind of just like a back to basics Rhinar like foundation list that you can kind of like go from there. You know, there's like the Bloodrush Bellow centric Rhinar, there's Berserk floating around, there's like strictly club builds or strictly claw builds. This one has both. So this is just a nice, broad strokes foundational Rhinar kind of list. So by default, most of the time you're going to be bringing the Mandible Claws just because of their synergy with Bloodrush Bellow. So the Mandible Claws cost 2, swing for 3, but if you discarded a card with 6 or more attack, they have go again for the turn. So during your Bloodrush Bellow turns, this is going to be swinging for 5 each. And then Romping Club will come in. You can kind of grind games out with the club. Pretty much you want to use this against like the Ice Heroes and maybe Fi and Dash, like the overly aggressive decks. You can kind of get on the back foot a little bit. Just play around with it, what you like more. But there's cards in here that complement Claws and Club alike, so we'll get into that. Crown of Providence, pretty standard these days. Blocks 2, filters a card from your hand or arsenal. We're going to run the Spring Tunic because we have enough defense to kind of get 2 or 3 resources out of this per game pretty easily. And that kind of helps on like our big Bloodrush Bellow turns. Gambler's Gloves to pair with the Scabskin Leathers. Nolan Gloves and Skullhorn gives you your AB3. And then Scabskin Leathers has Battle Worn 2, so it blocks 3 total throughout the game. And if you have a spicy hand, you can roll that dice and try to sneak in some extra actions. So red, yellow, blues. We have 19 blues and 25 yellows, so we're pretty yellow heavy. But again, our weapons cost 2 either way. So Alpha Rampage is the Rhinar specialization. Cost 3, does 9. You're going to discard a card when you play it, and it has an Intimidate printed on it, so your opponent's going to discard 2 cards with this and Rhinar's ability. What I like to do is pitch stack these towards the bottom, so you can kind of like put like Alpha Rampage, a blue to pay for it, and a 6 power attack, and even a Barraging Beatdown maybe if you're lucky, and you can kind of just strip your opponent's whole hand and just kill them if they have like 9 life or less or whatever. Barraging Beatdown, we have all 9 of these, but yeah, it's going to give your attack +4 and Intimidate, and they have to block it with 2 or more cards. Breakneck Battery, this is in the sideboard here, usually. So Breakneck Battery, what that does is pairs well with the Romping Club. So when you play Club, you bring in Breakneck Battery, because when you have a Tunic counter, you pitch a blue, Breakneck Battery, discard the 6 power attack. It has go again. You're going to Intimidate off a Rhinar, and then you use your Tunic resource to swing with the club for 5, since you did discard that 6 power attack. So that's a pretty good turn for the Tunic counter, so that's why I like 2 copies of Breakneck Battery. 2 Command and Conquer. I don't own 3, I only have 2, so there it is. Massacre at 3 copies. This is like your Bloodrush Bellow. Yeah, this is just what you want. You could replace this with that new Alpha Beatdown or Savage Beatdown or whatever, that new card in Dynasty. But Massacre is very solid, so it's going to have 8 with Intimidate. And if you discard it to pay a cost of an attack, it has an extra Intimidate, so it's just a very useful card. Pack Hunt, just kind of a bread and butter 2 for 6 with an Intimidate built in, so it kind of throws your opponent off a little bit. 2 Pulping, this pairs really, really well with the Mandible Claws. So like you bring in Breakneck Battery for club, you're gonna bring in Pulping for claws, because Pulping is gonna let you draw and discard that 6 power attack, and it'll have go again, and then you can swing your claws with go again as well. Savage Feast. This is a nice kind of mid-range card. So it only costs 1, so you can play it off your tune counter, discard that random card, and then when you discard that 6 power, you intimidate and you draw a card. So it kind of like refills your arsenal there when you're having some high blocking turns. Sink Below. It's going to help with crush effects from Guardians, and it's good against pretty much any deck. And again, you're just going to be filtering your hand and digging through to get that Bloodrush Bellow out of your deck. And then Swing Big is a 2 for 8. Very awesome card. Love it. So there you go. Argh Smash is going to be in your sideboard specifically for dash. Destroys items, enough said. Barraging Beatdown yellow. Barraging Bighorn. It's a yellow pitch, 6 attack. Beast Within, yellow pitch, 6 attack, and it pairs well with your Bloodrush Bellow turn, getting that extra 6 card in your hand. And then Bloodrush Bellow is kind of like what you're waiting for. This is just kind of, you know, blocking well, swinging weapon, or blocking well, throwing a 2 for 6 flavor of attack until you kind of get to your Bloodrush Bellow turn. Ideally, you want to use your Tunic resource to pay for this Bloodrush Bellow, then discard that 6 power attack card, draw 2 more cards, and it has go again. And that's when you really get things popping off with your claws and these various attacks here. Riled Up, another yellow 6. Savage Swing, yellow 6. Smash Instincts, yellow 6. Romp, yellow 7. So again, these are just all feeding the machine. The yellows kind of just feed the machine, your discard machine. And then for the blues, we have Awakening Bellow. If you have to cast it in a pinch, it does have a built-in Intimidate. Blue block 3. Barraging Beatdown, blue block 3. 1 energy potion in the sideboard. You're not going to bring this in every time. I do bring this in against any ice hero. And maybe against like slower decks, bring that in to help pay for claws during like a big Bloodrush Bellow turn. 3 Reckless Swing. It's a blue, and there's a defense reaction. So, again, there's nothing better than just winning the game by just 2 free damage that they can't do anything about. So why not run it? 3 Cent Sketch Plan. Again, blue block 3. But sometimes you can use this when your hand is built the right way to get that fetch that blue Wrecker Romp, discard a 6 and gain 2 action points. Pretty good there. Savage Feast, blue block 3, and also again, if you have that tune counter, you can kind of cast this to kind of refill that arsenal and still swing for 4. And then Wrecker Romp is the blue 6 block 3. So 19 blues, 25 yellows, 27 reds, and then you have your sideboard. So Argh Smash is in the sideboard. Breakneck Battery, I don't know why I had 3, but there's only 2. So that's in your sideboard for when you bring club. And Pulping is when you run claws. And then you have your energy potion and your honorary gloves and your Skullhorn make AB3, and then your weapon of choice. So again, it's not very flashy, it's not very exciting, but it's just decent turns, having good Bloodrush Bellow sequences, and then setting up like a late game alpha Rampage to strip their hand and kind of just intimidate and blast through that last line of defense to end the game there. So that's Rhinar in a nutshell. It's a foundational build. It's an old school build. Very enjoyable to play. You kind of feel like you're in control. It doesn't have incredibly high variance. You just have that large density of yellow 6s and red 6+ attacks to kind of feed the machine. And yeah, it's just very satisfying, very fun to play. So hope you enjoyed that. I got my Kano questions video on the way. It's being edited. I'm kind of making more of a production of that. And I just want to get this video out here for you guys because I like uploading and I like people sharing their deck list ideas with the world. So take this and run with it. See how Rhinar does as we head into the Outsiders meta. And see you guys in the next video. Thanks.